Hey everybody, good morning. Took 3 minutes to get going. I clicked the button at 8:30, but YouTube said no, we're not going to let this happen. Uh, so after a few minutes, I refreshed the page and then I got it going. So anyway, I think I have good audio today, and I've got sunshine. What the heck? Oh, all right. Oh, if anybody's watching, as always, if somebody could tell me how the audio is or if it's bad. Uh, anyway, we weren't supposed to have sun today. It was supposed to be rainy all day and cloudy, of course, but here we are with sun. It's a beautiful morning. So hopefully that lasts all day. Thank you, Nate Meyer. Appreciate that. I finally figured out how to use my microphone. It wasn't detecting it automatically, and then also because it's a Mac, you have to use one of those cords with 3 lines instead of 2. So anyway, it's like Apple just wants to screw with their users, makes it exclusive. Um, anyway, so here we are. Let's see if I can turn this video around, or if I have to turn the computer around. Probably just easier to do that. So here we are. The sun just went behind some clouds, but as you can see, there's not many clouds. And also, it was getting nice and dry around here, so I wasn't walking in mud, driving in mud. And then we got rain again. And now the creek is rushing, which is nice. So, I mean, I don't enjoy it, but I'm not going to complain about rain in springtime. It'd be nice to get rain in the spring. We have so many years that it stops raining by this time of year, and it's just done until October or November. So not gonna complain. Good, thank you, Jeff Thornburg. Appreciate that. Welcome, guys. Here too. Names I don't remember seeing very often. So anyway, I got some bacon and coffee going. I haven't really had my breakfast, but the stove's nice and hot. Wait, there it is. Oh, there it is. Yep, there we go. Yeah, isn't that a beautiful sight? Maybe not the wall in the background, but water boiling, coffee or for coffee, and bacon steaming. Now I found out they're saying bacon is a number 1 carcinogen. Not that I ever knew what a number 1 carcinogen is, but because they're talking about it now, I know it's the same thing that cigarettes are rated. And so I looked into what bacon is not a number 1 carcinogen, and they said the uncured kind. No nitrates, basically. However, I guess it's still carcinogenic, but it's not nearly as bad. So I found out I love my food fried, hot, and for a long time. And if my food gets black, I don't like that, but I don't turn it down. Well, turns out that's also unhealthy. That's a carcinogen. Why did I not hear about carcinogens until I was older? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how unhealthy I've made myself. But anyway, best time to get healthier is today. But anyway, I've been getting healthier, and it's a good move for sure. So anyway, life's good on the wild side. Got some my movie's getting closer and closer. That's kind of like I just feel like I'm on hold in my life until I make this Western. It's the big project that I'm focused on, and I'm pretty excited about it. And like I say, I just kind of feel like life is on hold until that happens. Um, Granted, it shouldn't be, because I need to practice a lot to get things set up and get everything figured out so that when the time comes, I can put out a good quality production. Because I'm not looking to, hey guys, I'm aware of the quality level of my videos in the past. I was well aware of them when I was making it. I just didn't know what I was doing wrong. It's a long learning process. And so now I've learned a ton about making movies in theory, and I'm learning to apply it. And so I expect this to be a good quality production. I'm setting up for it to be. So if it falls short, it won't be because of the gear. It'll be because either I didn't practice enough, or external circumstances that you just can't plan for. And they say that happens all the time when making movies. They say that it's like you're just kind of managing chaos no matter how much you plan it. So I got to keep telling myself that, because I'm planning a lot. So anyway, Jeff Thornburg says, I rarely eat bacon anymore. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that this uncured bacon will be more of a solution. I don't know. But I know hot fire's good. Hey, Craig. Good morning down in Texas. It's going to freeze Monday in North Texas. That's just wild. It's funny to see Texas getting colder weather than I've got. There we go. As I always say, the stove is hard to cook on because there's so much of a gap between the fire and the top of it. So I got a good hot fire going this morning to see if I could cook the bacon, and sure enough, it's working. Now, for those of you guys who are commenting on the audio, does it get any different when I get far away? That's how I make sure that it's working through the microphone and not through the computer. So, but I'm pretty sure it is. I think I got it figured out this morning. Oh man. Salt and pepper. S&P. Financiers like the S&P, but I like the S&P. Well, just found some more Old West books. My goodness, I've got a treasure trove of books now of research for the 1870s. Guys, if you don't know about manifesting, I know it's often used stupidly. On my other channel, I need to do a video about it, because another way of looking at it is seizing an opportunity. But it's kind of funny in life. So I had this desire to understand the 1870s cowboy era, because there's very little known about it. But I just started on this pursuit. I had no idea how I was going to learn about it, but just started on it. And it went slowly. I started coming up with my hunches about it, but it was not really based on anything really solid. And but then it's like it snowballs. And this happens. Anything I get into, it's kind of the same process where you start in a direction blindly, but just believing, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. And I mean, whether it's real estate, doing comedy, I think I had one recently that was a good example. But anything, you just kind of push into it, well, filmmaking, you just kind of got to go, even when you don't know what direction you're taking. And man, it snowballs. And that's what's going on with this 70s thing. I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to get information on the 1870s. Seems like there's nothing out there. But now all of a sudden, I'm just overwhelmed with books. One today that I got. So I've been learning about the Texas Cowboys because they primarily set the tone for cowboying, and it's what all the movies are about, based on the Texas Cowboys. They're the iconic cowboy, but they weren't the only ones, because there's a lot of Northerners, damn Yankees, going out west for money. You know, I mean, granted, the Texas guys were into it for the money too, but they were the herd owners. The Texas Cowboys, most of them were in it for the love of the game, as they say. They didn't care that they were making 20, 25, 30 bucks a month, because they just saw themselves as royalty, in that they were these princes of the plains. And so I've been learning about that, but then I started thinking I want to understand a little bit more about the broader context. So I just thought it. How am I going to learn about the broader context? But that's where I'm at now. I've got a pretty good idea of the Texas stuff and going up the cattle drive. But now how I want to learn about the Easterners that came out and were never in Texas. And then the other thing that I want to learn is California, because Charlie Russell, the famous cowboy and painter, he's got a book where he said that there was, I think it was 4 different areas, and maybe he said there's 3, but I added a 4th. My area, the Northwest, and he said that the California Cowboys were different from the Texas Cowboys. So that's what I also want to learn. But anyway, I just stumbled across a couple books. One guy and his cousin left Ohio because they heard about the open plains in out west of and raising cattle. So they left Ohio in 1878, April, just about the same year, the same time of year. They headed out for Kansas. And I didn't get very far in the book yet, but they went into Wichita, and then they went down to Council Bluffs. I think it was called Council Bluffs. So anyway, now I've got this fantastic book in the 70s, and then I got like 3 other books, and then a bunch of links that I haven't even clicked on, of all these online books that are available. So it's just like, when it rains, it pours, and when it comes on, you just gotta believe it's gonna happen. That's how I've learned to approach things. All right. I've been cooking by putting stuff in the stove because it's so hard to get it hot up here. But then I inevitably get it too close to the heat and burn it. This is perfect. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to give it a little bit longer while I make some coffee. I'm trying some new coffee because the stuff that I normally use, I just felt like it needed more bursting flavor. So I got this Sumatra at the store. First time I made it, I thought it was pretty good. I made some last night when I got home about 6 o'clock. And it was pretty good. I was impressed. So I made it this morning. But after a few minutes, it started getting tangy. Like it kind of tasted good at first, but it started getting tangy, kind of citrusy after it was out a little bit. So I wonder if I brewed it too long. You know, that's what you got to do when you get a new coffee, is you got to try different grind sizes, and you got to try different brew durations, how long you leave it in the water before drinking it. And last night I didn't leave it for very long. This morning I left it for a long time. So I'm going to try not very long again. Let's see if it turns out better. The grind size is the same because some of you are going to hate this, but I just do pre-ground anymore. I just don't notice that big of a taste. And maybe it's because my coffee ain't that flavorful, but when I was grinding it right before I drank it, I just didn't notice that big a difference. And when I wake up, I just want my coffee as quick as I can. I keep a fire going all night now, and I make sure there's enough water in the pot to stay really warm. That way I've already got to jump on it when I get out of bed. The water's already warm, so it doesn't take as long to boil, in theory. It always takes forever, though. It's really annoying. It'll be sitting right over fire, and I'm thinking, why is this not boiling? I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, it eventually boils, and I get my coffee. Lone Ranger, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Maybe you've been here but haven't commented. Live in Texas but work in Montana. Oh, what kind of work, if you don't mind saying? No big deal if you don't want to say. And but does that mean you're up there for like 6 months out of the year or something? That's kind of the best of both worlds. You get Texas and Montana. I need to go to Montana. Maybe I'll drive out there. I don't know. I got trips I want to make, but I'm going to shoot this film. And I can't plan too many things because I really need to be here focusing on getting ready for my film project. Whoops. But I want to go to California for an event, a cowboy event. And I want to go on a horseback ride, a 2-week one, but I don't know if I can do all 2 weeks. We got this ride. It's a cross-state ride on the John Wayne Trail, with the Liberals renamed to the Palouse to Cascades Trail, if anybody wants to look it up. Whoops. Hey, Dead Wolf Resistance. Got your Kimberlywood stove going. Cool. Cheers. I hope you got some coffee going. And so this John Wayne Trail, as you guys know, my dogs are old. And so I can't really go out on a cross-state trail on my horses like I would like to. But what they do, this is a group where you pay to go on the ride. And so a lot of dinners are provided. And what they do is they've got a group of 100 people or so, and they take a bus. So in the morning, you get up, pack your stuff up, throw it in your truck, and drive it to the next destination, that night's camp. And then they've got a bus there to drive you back to your horses where y'all camped the night before, that night, in the night before. And then you ride that day's leg of the trail. And then you camp. They feed you dinner, usually. Or you go into town. It's a pretty cool trail. I really want to do it. And then, the next morning, same thing. You move your truck again. They bus you back. And now that's not my style of thing. I've not wanted really to join in so much, except I do like being around people. And usually people enjoy my guitar playing and singing. That's the kind of musician I am, as a campfire singer, and not necessarily a studio singer. Anyway, oh, whoops. I got to get my bacon now. So, but because I've got my dogs too old to go anywhere, this is a way that it makes it feasible that I could do a cross-state trail. And also, for the sake of training my horse, I mean, there's nothing like a big group of horses riding 10 miles a day. I don't know how long the ride is daily. I don't remember. But, 10 or 12 miles per day with 100 other horses, it's a great way to get your horse broken into daily riding. That's why I'd really like to do the 2 weeks, because after 2 weeks of that, with both horses, one I'd be ponying one, holding the rope, and then riding my main one. Nam Ken. And after 2 weeks of that, they'd be some good riding horses. Horses, they just kind of, oh, this is how life is now. They kind of get that way. All right, cheers, everybody. Let's see how this coffee is. I might have made it a little weaker than I like it. Okay, I don't like crispy bacon, but I like a good in between. This isn't quite the in between that I like. If I wasn't making a video, I'd probably stick it in the fire and get it crisp really quick on the outside. I used to have a friend who could cook bacon incredibly, and she said that was her secret. She slow cooked it on both sides till it was nice and done, and then she cranked up the heat. And this is living, folks. Yesterday it was rainy, windy, and cold. It was one of those miserable days. And I went into town, was gone for about 4 hours. Unfortunately, I shut the stove down nicely. So I'm driving up, not looking forward to a cold cabin. I saw the most beautiful thing. Smoke coming out of the stovepipe. And I knew my cabin was going to have a fire. But I forgot that I closed the door. Usually I have the door open, so when I come in, it's a little chilly. But I had the door closed, so when I walked in, it was nice and warm in here. And that's just the best feeling, guys. Going to town, miserable, cold day, coming home to a warm cabin. And then eating some bacon and coffee there next morning. Let's see. Lone Ranger said travel home to Texas every 90 days or so. Oh my goodness. Huh. Coffee. Cheers, Dead Wolf Resistance. Chewy. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I like it chewy, but slightly crisp. But definitely chewy if I only had one word. Lone Ranger says best or closest description would be a modern day Pony Express 2.0. Oh, are you on the road? You got a driving job? Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm jealous. Dead Wolf Resistance has snow and burning oak. Granted, I don't need oak right now. I'm burning maple, and it's warm enough that I'm nice and warm in here with the door open. But I really want some oak firewood this year, so that next year I'd like to have it in the morning when I get up and I want to get it nice and warm really quick. And then also for those days where it actually gets cold around here. This winter was particularly light. Barely got cold at all this year, like really cold. What we call really cold. It was hardly ever even in the low 20s. And I don't think it ever got in. Well, it got into the teens a few times. But that's when I like the oak. Oak deadfall, man. Yep. That's how it is down in Texas. It's like every tree down there is great firewood. Where up here, every tree is bad firewood, and you got to go search for something decent. Well, the bacon's good. Good stuff. I could have cooked this part a little bit more. Might as well do it right. There we go. Been cooking rabbit for the dogs. A friend was raising rabbits, and he gave me like 5 frozen rabbits. So I boil them up about 2 at a time and just pull it out of the pot. That's why it's so nice when it's cold out, cold weather. It's so much easier to live. Just keep all the food out there. Cook up 5 days worth of meat for the dogs. And that way I don't have to cook for them daily. I never thought I would learn to love the winter time. But I do. I do. And I'm dreading the summer. Except that this year I'm going to run an air conditioner. Oh, take care, Lone Ranger. Thanks for joining. I'm going to run an air conditioner, and I might have a cellar to hang out in too. I need to get that cellar for my food. Because I'm really thinking this year I'm going to spend the summer up at this property, not go to the other one like I would normally do. Oh, criminy. My other laptop is dead. And I'm sorry, living on the wild side. I just I got sick of the heat, because I just cannot bear that heat. And what I end up doing, I end up just wasting the day waiting for it to cool off, and I'm not productive. So this year, I'm going to shoot my film, and then I'm going to spend the next hot summer months, hiding out in the air conditioning, doing all the editing and sound. I'm going to have to figure out how to make symphony orchestra music on AI, unless I can use Beethoven's violin concerto. But I don't think I can. I think it's copyrighted, because it's the production that's copyrighted, not the music. And of course, now I just thought maybe I can put that into AI and get my own non-copyrighted. All right, guys, I hate AI. If I could push a button and get rid of it completely, I would. But since I'm not the kind of guy that has a patience for technology, I'm going to use it for things like music and however, I've also thought I'm going to talk to the local, every community has a local orchestra. I thought I could talk to the local orchestra and see if I could write my own piece. I'd have to have somebody actually write it for me, and then have them perform it where I could record it. But now that I say it out loud, I don't know that I don't know. Maybe just one shotgun mic in the room or two shotgun mics. I'd have to look into that, but I probably wouldn't have the microphone ability to capture it properly. So AI it is. You see what I'm getting at? For music. And then the other thing that I would use AI for, let's see, how is that coffee? That's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's better than my other coffee necessarily. Anyway, the other thing I would use AI for is, so I've got some shots out here that I'd like to use, and it would save me from having to drive 30 miles and move everything to get shots out there. Well, I might do that anyway because it's just me and my horse that I'd have to film. But anyway, I could get almost all of my filming done here if I use AI to cover up a few houses in the background. Because there's some shots here that I want to use, like I said, but in the background are houses. But AI makes it so easy these days to hide things like that, where otherwise I'd have to learn Photoshop for video. And I've tried to learn Photoshop and it's a nightmare for me. And it's me, not Photoshop, that's the problem there. So that's the ways that I'm willing to use AI in art, because it just kind of makes things possible that otherwise I just wouldn't be able to do. It's just like using a digital camera in a way. But like I say, if I could push a button and get rid of AI completely, I'd do it. But that's the ways that I find acceptable. Sounds like I'm trying to justify it to you. No, I'm just explaining my take on it. Because I know a lot of people are rightfully against it. But anyway, as a digital camera also makes it, I've got an incredible camera, but it was cheap and will allow me to make professional level video as long as I take the time to learn how, which I pretty much have figured it out. The next step is learning how to the next step is learning how to edit it, to do the coloring. When we use our iPhones or whatever phone you got to take video, it comes out great. But when shooting a professional level film, it doesn't work that way. You actually intentionally pretty much take out all the color so that then you do in the editing, you add the color that you want instead of the phone automatically doing it. But like when I post on Facebook or all my YouTube videos, it's all just what the phone does and it looks great. But when you do a film, you want to be intentional about the output, not just, hey, Apple made it this way, that works. So anyway, I don't know if anybody finds that interesting, but I find it really interesting. Pretty much obsessed with filmmaking. And then the other aspect of it is the story and the actors. And I think I've got that down. I think it's going to be a good story that keeps people intrigued. And I think I got actors that can pull it off. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to it. Dead Wolf says, I ended up in central North Dakota. Oh, I truck for a large farmer and live on his land located in Creek Valley. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's really cool. Have you ever been stuck in a blizzard though? my main impression of the Dakotas, first impression was from the Laura Ingalls stories, and they depicted those blizzards and it was a real thing for all those people who say Laura Ingalls books don't have any history. It's a real thing that those blizzards were so intense that you couldn't see 5 feet ahead of you, and people would like go out to take care of the animals and then try to go back to their house or their cabin, and they'd get lost and freeze to death because they couldn't see their way. And that's why people who learned, whether from others or from the hard way, but survived it, they'd tie a string out to the barn or take a string with them and then tie it, and that way they could follow the string back home. And I've always wanted to experience that, to see it, like tie a string from my vehicle, but I've never been to North Dakota. I've been to South Dakota, but not in a blizzard. So anyway, so that's what's going on. It's good stuff. I'm excited. I'm riding my horse finally. Took a few rides. First ride, she was pretty feisty because I hadn't been on her since August. And but I just took it easy. I got off her when she was too stressed out. I let her eat a lot. I'm trying a different strategy that I've made up myself because I can. And because I'm by myself, it's easier. It's easier if somebody was riding their horses and I just followed, then she'll go because there's another horse. But she's pretty much by herself with Comanche Moon wandering here and there. And so she's not confident to go, and she doesn't want to, but she doesn't understand that when I'm on her back, we're going for a ride. And that's what you kind of got to teach a horse. And so I'm choosing to do it gradually, where I'm letting her eat so that she sees, oh, okay, it's not bad when this guy's on my back. But then occasionally I'll tell her, she'll try to eat, and I'll pull her head up, nope, we're walking, make her walk, and she gets frustrated, but I just let her turn around and make her go. And then we do a little bit of that, and then I just let her go back to eating. And that way I can kind of gradually get her, little by little, she figures out, oh, when this guy tells me to go, I go. And so far it's working. Like I only got on her 3 times because this weather, honestly, this weather keeps me from doing it sometimes. But so stinking hot, I had to close the stove. Because the wind has also been really bad, and then it was bad cold with the wind, so sometimes I just didn't go out and ride. But anyway, by the 3rd ride, she was doing a lot better. We were riding a lot more. I was still letting her eat, but she'd calmed down. She didn't mind that I was on her back at all. And so saw some quick change, but she's a good horse, so I'm not too surprised. Really glad I got her, if I can get her feet figured out. But so anyway, because then the next step is once I get her calmed down where we're able to ride, and then I'm going to take the camera out and start getting some cool shots, practice shots, but I'm also going to put them together and throw them online. So if we can get this dang wind to stop. It's funny how winter's over, spring starts, but it's all deceiving because all of a sudden, oh yeah, I forgot all about the wind. So you see these perfect weather on the forecast, and then end up hanging out inside all day because the wind's blowing gale force winds. But today it's nice and calm, and sunny. So I'm going to have to get outside and get on the horse. Dead Wolf says, yeah, I've been snowed in by blizzards many times. No doubt about it. It's a lot of work to film a video. I can't imagine how much it would be to do a movie. Lots of work. Yeah, it is. And a lot to learn. It's fun. Like, I'm really looking forward to the filming. I've got most of the shots in my head already. Particularly, there's a red-haired character named Henry, And when my character meets Henry, I'm really looking forward to that whole scene, because I'm going to add in some spaghetti Western kind of filming techniques. And so I've got almost every shot figured out in my head. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all of it. I think every scene is going to be really good, in my opinion. They say make the film that you want to see, and that's what I'm doing. So we'll see how well it translates to other people, because, as I say, what I hate about modern movies is they throw in just so much intensity, which isn't wrong, because that's why you're telling a story, because, hey, this wild event occurred and we're telling a story about it, which is what you do. Like Taxi Driver, he was pretty crazy and he went out and murdered people, which now is it's a cliche, it's a trope to have all this murder. I'll explain what I mean. But for Taxi Driver, that's what the story was, so it fit in. And it wasn't used in such a way as like shock and awe. It was, that's the story. This guy, he slowly goes more and more crazy, but he's justified in his mind because he's taken out criminals that the cops aren't dealing with. And so it's all fitting. It's part of the story. But then you fast forward to these days with whether it's TV shows or movies, and they throw that stuff in such a way that it's clearly just to get you on the whether on the edge of your seats or whether to shock you. And it's not like an essential part of the story. And where I can't think of any examples right now, but if anybody mentioned a TV show or movie that I've seen, I could probably give you an example. But it's where, anyway, it's just bad writing. Like, and so anyway, my movie is kind of anti that, where I was afraid it was anticlimactic when I originally wrote it, because I was reacting to that kind of writing. But now, like I say, I think I've developed it enough where it'll be a good enough story where there's enough plot points to keep people intrigued. But there's not like a gunfight. That's the other thing. I was trying to move away from all the cliches and just write a simple Western story that is more realistic to what we might have seen in the Old West, even though there was plenty of gunfights. But this is more like an everyday story of the Old West, even though it's not every day. But anyway, that's more than anybody wanted to hear probably on that subject. So I was on antibiotics for my tooth. I'm missing a tooth now, and but I'm on the healing side of things. I got my tooth dealt with, so I'm really happy. And because I was on antibiotics, I was feeling really bad. It was wiping me out. And I looked into what to do to rebuild my gut biome, because those antibiotics kill all the good and bad bacteria. And you guys have all heard about probiotics, but I heard about this one. It's a fungal probiotic as opposed to a bacteria probiotic. I don't know a ton about them. That makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about. That's the extent of my knowledge. But the antibiotics don't kill this off. That's one critical thing. And so you can take it while on antibiotics. Unfortunately, I didn't find out about it until the last day. And because that's one of the big problems, your stomach gets messed up because it kills off all the bacteria, and then you get feeling bad. So anyway, if anybody's big on fixing your stomach up, I got the generic brand, but it's called Floridor. Good stuff. Take 2 of them a day. I think I took them. Supposed to put it in my drawer after I take them. That way I know I'm done with them. Darn it. Anyway, you take 2 a day and it builds your stomach up pretty quick. And then there's others, lactobacillus, however that's pronounced. So that's what I'm big on now. Eat onions, garlic, fresh foods, fresh meat, non-processed meat. And anyway. Oh, funny you say that. Craig Curtis just mentioned watching a video on catching dew water. We must have seen the same thing because I just watched it last night. My cousin down in, I think that's what my cousin down in Arizona has. He said this group, he got a grant, the government group or something, came in, set up this water humidity catcher, kind of like Luke Skywalker harvesting water. Isn't that what he did back home on Tatooine when he wasn't shooting wombats? Yeah, and so he actually had running water, and it was just caught out of the air in Arizona, where it's arid. Like I get it in a humid area where there's a lot of humidity, but he was getting it right there in Arizona. So I'd like to try that. I've got all the water I need, but it would be pretty dang cool to figure out how to set it up. It's like a 4 foot by 3 foot screen that you set up at the right angle so that in the morning the screen collects dew and the breeze blows on it. I forget why. I think that helps make the dew. And then the dew runs off into a little trough on the bottom. So I'd really like to try that, put up a few of them, try to get a day's worth of water would be pretty cool. And then if I got desert property where there was no water, like I had out here before I bought this place, it would have been really handy for getting drinking water. So I'd like to try that. And then somebody else sent me, the day before that, somebody sent me a way that you can generate power on your wood stove. So I run the wood stove constantly for about 8 months of the year or 7 months of the year. And this guy does these videos. I think it was the same guy. And he, for like $15, you can set these things up. He shows you how for $15 you can set up that wind collector or the water collector. And then for $15 you can set up this power generator by using heat. So I'd like to try that because I could, from what he's saying, I could charge my devices and run my lighting just off my wood stove, which would be really great because in the wintertime, I had one stretch this winter of 8 days that I talk about all the time, where I couldn't keep my batteries charged. And so it'd be nice to have a consistent source for those things that I use regularly. And then the other stuff I can put off, like that's the main things I need. Hey, I'm back. I wiped the dust off my keyboard and it closed it out. But fortunately, they let me keep it going. I'm amazed. Thank you, YouTube, for making something practical and not pointless. So here we are. I made it back. Man, I can't believe that they let me do that. I don't know how it stopped, but I hit a button. That was dumb. Anyway, I was talking about heat. Oh, and I got bacon. Sun's shining really hard in the door now. All right, is anybody still there? Or did y'all leave? That was crazy. Oh yeah, this is fantastic. Might need to make some more coffee, just so I can have fun drinking coffee and bacon. I need to try my French press for when I want more than one. There it is. More than one cup of coffee. All right. Anybody still here? Says I got viewers. Yeah. All right. Right here. Cool. Dead Wolf Resistance. Thanks. Even if you only collect a cup of dew water, bet it would be a good cup of coffee. Oh, yeah. That'd be interesting. Yeah. My well water. It's funny. I've noticed dogs and chickens and animals, they all prefer the creek water over like well water. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the dew water tastes. But I think the minerals from the ground make it taste better. I don't know. Humans don't generally seem to notice unless I mostly notice when there's chemicals. That's what I hate. Like when I got to buy water at the store and they don't have spring water and it's just city water bottled. I think a lot of people don't realize that that's what most bottled water that you get in the store is just treated city water. So you might as well go to a faucet and get the water there. I've been buying water still. I need to have my well water tested because I was getting a stomach ache off of it. It might be fine now, but anyway, I buy Crystal Geyser where it's well water from Northern California. Northern California has nice, not well water, spring water. One of our presidents visited Dunsmuir and said it's the best water in the world. And that's their claim to fame now. And I buy their water. Man, it's just a regular, beautiful day. The birds are looking for a place to nest. This is the time of year where if I don't run a fire in my wood stove, they start nesting in the stovepipe. I found that out the hard way, being gone for a while and then coming back to this property. Starting a fire and it gets all smoky inside because it can't get out of the stovepipe. After a while, I figured out when I'm going to be gone for a while, you got to put something over the stovepipe. I did that last year when I went to Texas, and surprisingly, it didn't blow off. I'm excited for this year. Really excited. I think it's going to be a fun year. If I can get going on those trips that I want to do and then shoot my film and edit it and have it done by, I don't know, September or October is when I'll probably release it. But who knows? Maybe what I'll do, I'll set up a membership thing and make it live for people who watch my channel. Make it a free membership or a $2 membership, and so people who are regulars of my channel can watch it sooner, and people who donate to help fund it. But then make it a public release in probably October, because there's times of years, there's statistics on everything. So when you want to do a crowdfunding campaign with like a Kickstarter, you just Google what's the best time of year to do that. And there's statistics on it. Best time of year is May. So when I moved my shooting schedule to June, I didn't do it for that reason, but it coincides with being the best time of year to do crowdfunding. And then the other thing you Google is when's the best time to release a short film.
or a new show or a film, a movie. You know, you can do all of those. When's the best time of year to release a movie on YouTube? All these statistics are already studied and done. I think a lot of people don't know that marketing is what drives a big part of what drives the world, aside from lawyers and insurance companies, and lots of money put into every angle of marketing. I took a really good business course, and it was eye opening just how much. Because I always thought of marketing as kind of like a gamble. Like, okay, you can try it, but you're not guaranteed any results. But which is true. Technically, that's true. But when you do your research properly, marketing works because there's been so much money and so much trial and error done that it's not a mystery. And so, anyway, all that information is available to set you up to succeed if you want to. And so that's what I've done. All right, I gotta have some more coffee to go with that bacon I just had. Yeah. Hey, Maddie. So anyway, it's gonna be a fantastic year. I hope you're excited. I hope you guys are doing cool stuff. Life's too short to not be doing something exciting with it. We don't want to get to the end of our lives and think, I wish I had done that. Because I'm halfway through my life or so and already wishing I had done a lot. So, gotta make up for lost time. There, now I'm making a blend. Making my own coffee blend. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Hopefully the water's hot. I usually use boiling water, but it was boiling a while ago and still sitting on the stove, so we'll see. That's another variable that will affect how your coffee tastes. So I'm going to try not as hot water and see how it comes out. And I need my coffee creamer. I love my dog, but I tell you what, I get kind of tired of her standing in the way. Hey, Maddie. You see her? She sits in the way so that I'll come out and pet her. And so I won't leave her. I don't want you to leave me. Rub my belly. It's her favorite thing is getting belly rubs. Right, good girl? Man, it gets annoying anytime I want to walk around. I almost step on her. And I feel bad. She feels bad. Or I almost fall over. All right. Oh, shoot. That's what I do when I'm talking. Almost forget the coffee filter. All right. Anybody celebrating St. Patrick's Day? I'm horrible about getting ready. I ordered some St. Patrick's Day lights. They're just green LED lights, like Christmas lights. I ordered some, and I haven't set them up yet. So here we are, like 4 days from St. Patrick's Day. I haven't even set up my lights, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do that today. Trying to be more festive and productive this year. And I was going to set up St. Patrick's Day, but also they're double as springtime lights. So green lights for spring, Christmas lights for wintertime. Except next year, after Christmas, I want to replace my Christmas lights and do white lights. Because I set up Christmas lights and it was so much more festive. Living by yourself, you gotta kind of do things to make it tolerable. I don't know how much y'all live by yourselves, but going into town like once a week, and then even then barely socializing. You got to be aware that your mind will go crazy if you're not careful. Oh, Dead Wolf Resistance. Yeah, I didn't know you made videos like that. That does sound cool. My Blade and Bullet videos. Very cool. Blades and Bullets. Sounds like a good channel that any decent man would enjoy. Used to drink green beer. I'm smarter now. Yeah. I used to work in a Irish restaurant called Cyrus O'Leary's. Really, the only thing Irish about it was the name. And but it was the biggest. It was the hottest restaurant in town in Spokane back in the day. It was the busiest, and so of course St. Patrick's Day was a big deal there because the Patrick's Day parade went right down the road outside, and so people would be in the restaurant and the bar all day long. And they'd go outside, watch the parade, and then come back in, and and then when the parade was over, the bagpipers would come and go in the store, in the restaurant, walk through the restaurant, end in the bar area, and get in a circle and play for a while. It was so cool. I've always loved St. Patrick's Day, and I was so excited that it was so festive, and I was working. I worked 17 hours that day, and I loved it. Got off work at like 2 a.m. and celebrated. They gave me a corned beef dinner when I got off work at 2 a.m. And so anyway, back then I was very religious, didn't drink a lick. And but I walked up into the bar while they were playing. They were taking requests. And I requested Amazing Grace because that was like the only song that I ever listened to on bagpipes. And I just think it's so good on bagpipes. So here we are in a bar, everybody drunk. I told the guy, I didn't even think about it. Just said, hey, would you play Amazing Grace? He says, well, I don't think anybody wants to hear that. He said, okay. So he did. And everybody loved it. And so it turned out okay. I loved it. So I was still working. So I requested it and then went back to cleaning tables. And it was awesome. I loved it. I loved that job. And of course, I loved St. Patrick's Day, being right in the center of it. That was so cool. But anyway, I didn't drink green beer, but they were sure selling it. And they were using, for that day, they were using plastic cups. And I cleaned up so much green beer that day. Nowadays, I drink a little bit. So I'll probably have a little bit of whiskey or maybe a Guinness on St. Patrick's Day. And no green beer. I like the real story of St. Patrick. I've read a book on it, the history of it. It's a fascinating story. He was quite a guy. Really neat what he did in Ireland. So I'm excited. I haven't started listening to my Irish music yet, though. Usually I listen to my old traditional favorites. Problem is, after X amount of years, it's kind of like heard them so much. I still love them. It's just I listen to them in the off season as well. So need to do it like Christmas, I guess, where I only listen to it around Christmas. Okay, that book I was talking about. I don't know how long we've been. We've been over an hour. I just might call this quits. If anybody's got more comments or questions, shoot them at me now. Ranching in the Southwest. That's the one book. Ranch Life in Southern Kansas and the Indian Territory. You can find it on Hoppy Trust if you're familiar with that site. It's got a lot of online books. What the heck? It doesn't show that it's charging. You guys don't care about that. Anyway, Hoppy Trust, I think is how it's pronounced. And it's called Ranch Life in Southern Kansas and the Indian Territory. Like I said, it's specifically I really need to get a better setup for my connections here. I've got my solar. My solar is still a temporary setup. All right, this is what I deal with, guys. On my MacBook, it just said 22% battery and not charging. And then I go reconnect it, even though it was connected. I reconnect it, come back over here, and it's 63% and still not charging, not showing that it's charging. But the cord shows the light as if it's charging. I don't get it, guys. What in the world is up with technology? Kind of wish I could throw it all away and quit, but in order to do these videos and make a movie, there, now it says it's charging. Okay. In order to do that, I got to be up on this stuff. So that's the price I have to pay. You got to be involved in some technology in order to get this stuff done. Adios, Craig. Got to find 4-leaf clover. Yeah. Oh, speaking of clovers, one of my rides down to my other property where it's a lower elevation, the clover is starting to come in. That's when it really gets beautiful around here because they spring up everywhere, and they grow in bunches and big heads of flowers, bright, colorful flowers, like 2 or 3 different colors, and you can barely walk without stepping on them. So that's what's exciting about springtime. And then we also already have the I forget what they're called, but these little purple flowers, and they're everywhere, and these little yellow flowers are everywhere. So spring in the desert is really exciting, and it just doesn't pick up on camera very well. But when you're out there walking, like you can't take a step without stepping on a wildflower. They're just everywhere, but they're small right now. And then the bigger ones come when it gets warmer. The smaller ones come up when it's still cold out. So anyway, it's exciting times. The clover is exciting. Clover also puts nitrogen back into the ground. So when you see them, you know that good stuff is going on with the soil. So anyway. All right, folks. Well, I guess I'll call it quits here. Hope y'all have a good weekend and get out into nature somehow. And just remember, you don't have to live this way to get the benefits of nature. That's just the reminder that I like to tell people, is it feels so good to be out in nature. Just take a drive, 30 minutes, wherever you got to go to get to the wilderness. Go for a walk. Hug a tree, but don't tell anybody. Don't get the wrong idea. That's for those of you who need that little inspiration. All right, folks. The rest of you, appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. I'll be back tomorrow on the other channel for those of you who are interested in that. But as I always like to warn, that's where I talk philosophy, religion, politics, whatever's on my mind. Over here, it's just history and how I live. So that's the warning. If you're into that kind of thing, we're same time, but Sunday morning and the Creekside channel. So, other than that, I'm going to say goodbye to you all and go get some fun things done in the sun. Hope you all have a good weekend. And remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.